Welcome back to Bravo Breaking News. I am your host, Kim, back with another episode of Unpopular Opinions, my weekly show where I break down all of the top Bravo news and moments of the week, and of course, give my opinions on them all.
That's my opinion!
I have to talk about this week's Real Housewives of Salt Lake City Below Deck crossover, as well as some updates coming out of the Real Housewives of New Jersey, and an unexpected Vanderpump Rules reunion that I am interested to hear your guys' thoughts on. I'm going to get into everything that you need to know from this past week, but before I dive in, you guys know what to do. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any more Bravo Breaking News. And if you are listening as a podcast on Spotify, iTunes, wherever you get your podcasts, please drop us a rating and review. It helps us grow, and I would love to see it so much. Okay, so before I get into all of the Real Housewives and Vanderpump news that I mentioned before, I have to talk about what was one of the most exciting moments of the week for me, and that was Andy Cohen sitting down with Alex Cooper on this week's episode of Call Her Daddy. Now, when Alex teased this on her Instagram, I was shaking, physically shaking, a la Lisa Barlow. Like, Alex is known for being one of the best interviewers. And I gotta say, I think Andy Cohen is right up there with her. But very rarely do we see either one of them, especially Andy, in the interviewee seat, in the guest seat. So the fact that we were going to be getting him being interviewed by one of the best interviewers, I mean, I knew it was going to be great, and it did not disappoint. Alex did a great job, but I do have to say, a lot of people on social media were expecting a huge announcement to come out of this podcast. When they saw that Andy was going on Call Her Daddy, they were like, oh, what is he going to announce? But that was obviously coming from people who do not listen to Call Her Daddy, because yes, while people go there as part of like a press tour, they don't really announce stuff. It's more of just like a kiki, a hangout, a place where you kind of get to know them. Alex is known for going deep and getting the answers that we all want to know, as is Andy. So I thought that this was going to be a great place to kind of get to know Andy and hear things about him that we don't really get to see much of. Also, if he's going to make a big announcement, we are 2 weeks away from BravoCon. So he is not going to do that on Alex Cooper's podcast. He is definitely going to save it for the BravoCon stage. And I think we're definitely getting some of those. But back to the interview, you know, Andy talks about his dating life, his career, all of that. I definitely recommend it if you guys haven't listened. But he does spill some tea on the Real Housewives and his thoughts behind the housewives themselves. Alex did a couple rapid fire questions and asked him, first of all, who was the thirstiest celebrity he has ever met? I mean, Andy has met a lot of celebrities, pretty much all of them at this point. But the one that stuck out in his head in this moment, Brittany Bateman from the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Like, the way I was absolutely cackling. Like I said, Andy has met a lot of celebrities, and the fact that he thinks of her as the thirstiest, I don't even want to know what this woman has asked Andy and Bravo for, slid into his DMs. Texts. I mean, I bet she's not even allowed to have Andy's phone number. I wouldn't put it past her to be texting him multiple times a day about her edit, about whether she's going to get a snowflake. I mean, she is definitely an attention whore. What about me? But that's why we love her, and Andy did say it with love. Now, regarding the best Bravo or Real Housewives casting in the last year, Andy said Stassi Rush from Potomac. And I could not agree more. I think that Stassi was the perfect casting for this show. And I don't know if you guys have been on Twitter lately, but if you have not, go over and search for Stassi's QVC videos, because as we all know, she was a QVC host before she got on The Real Housewives. And man, could she sell anything.
Don't you need a great statement earring? Oh, yes, you do. Talk about length, talk about drama, talk about stones, talk about comfort, so lightweight.
Those videos, I've been watching them like constantly for the past week. New ones just keep popping up on my feed. They are amazing. If you need a good laugh, if you need a good smile, head over to Twitter and watch some of those because they are so good. Speaking of Potomac, he also says he loves Karen Huger and hopes that she returns to the Real Housewives of Potomac. This doesn't surprise me at all. After all, she is the grande dame. And seeing as we had Shannon get a DUI on OC and then return to the show with no sweat off her back, I do think that Karen is going to return. When it comes to Wendy, though, he actually says that he hopes that, this can all just go away. He hopes that, this is all nothing and that they can move forward. She also asked which housewives at the reunions had the most difficult time listening to others, talking over others. The first name out of his mouth was Lisa Barlow.
Who do you think is the worst person when it comes to speaking over people at reunions?
I think Lisa Barlow.
I don't know. I know that Salt Lake City is definitely in the zeitgeist right now, so maybe it's top of mind for him. But the fact that his immediate thought was Lisa Barlow as being one of the most difficult housewives at the reunions, that kind of says a lot. He also said Teresa, which is no surprise, as well as Dr. Simone and Toya from Married to Medicine. Of course, Alex was going to ask about Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip Morocco, to which he said he has no control over whether it airs. If it were up to him, we would be seeing it, but obviously Bravo and producers have different issues to deal with. He also talked a little bit about Love Island, which I was really interested to see. So first of all, he actually called out Love Island USA Season 7 winners Amaya and Brian as potentially being in a PR relationship. He even questions whether they were even together at the time the reunion filmed. And let's be real. First, Andy knows a lot of celebrities, but he has also seen the rise and fall of a lot of reality TV couples. So the fact that he's saying this and saying that it could have all been for press, he's kind of saying what we all were thinking. We all kind of assumed that Brian was in this relationship for the wrong reasons. But the fact that they might have not even been together and still stuck it out through the reunion, I didn't really see that coming. And then he also talked about Huda. Now, he does share that Huda was obviously one of the main characters on the show, and she was probably who he was most excited to talk to. But the backlash that he got for asking these simple questions of, who are you dating? Talk to us about your dating life. When Huda and her fans thought that was the most inappropriate question, like, whoa, Andy went there? He was like, you are on a reality dating show. The thing that should be the most fair game is talking about your current dating life. And he basically said that the Huda fans coming after him was very special.
So that there should be any backlash or commentary on that, I was like, oh, this is special. This is kooky.
And it's very clear that people who watch Love Island and watch that reunion with Andy have never seen a Real Housewives reunion, because Andy's going to go there. He's going to ask the questions. He's going to not stop asking until he gets some sort of answer.
And by the way, the Huda fans, and I'm sure they have a Huda hive or something like that, they were really brutal.
So I think that was an interesting experience for him, to say the least, and he is looking forward to hosting the next one as well. And finally, who would replace him if he were to retire? His answers were pretty much what we all already know. He said either Jeff Lewis or Jerry O'Connell, both of which would make amazing replacements. But let's be real, guys. Andy Cohen is irreplaceable. The person who sits down in that reunion chair and that Watch What Happens Live chair, whenever we sadly have to say goodbye to Andy, is going to have extremely big shoes to fill. I also don't like the narrative when people say that Andy Cohen is so over this, he doesn't like the Housewives, he doesn't like hosting Watch What Happens Live anymore. Guys, when you see interviews like this, you can tell that Andy Cohen is just as passionate as us about these shows, and that's why we love him. Okay, moving on to our next story. I have to talk about the television event of the season, of the year, quite frankly, and that is this week's Real Housewives of Salt Lake City Below Deck crossover. If any Bravo television show were to be nominated for an Emmy, it would be this one. And it's not even over. We're going to continue seeing this crossover happen this week on Salt Lake City as well. But I just have to ask, Why is this just now happening? Why has it taken so long for us to get an entire Housewives cast on that yacht with the below deck cast members? Like, this should have happened ages ago, but leave it to the Housewives of Salt Lake City to be the ones making history. I mean, it's almost as if the Bravo producers saw them in those Sprinter vans and were like, okay, these women go absolute apeshit in these Sprinter vans. How can we elevate that to a whole new level and make it even more chaotic? And they said, oh, how about a below deck yacht? And boy, did it deliver. I mean, I feel like this should become a regular thing on the Real Housewives. Like, each season, each city should go on a yacht trip with a different below deck cast. So that made me start going through all of the Real Housewives cities and below deck cast members and kind of piece together my dream cast for the next crossover. And I think we got to bring Captain Lee back. I mean, could you imagine his reactions to the Housewives on his yacht? And of course, with Captain Lee, we got to bring Kate back too, make Kate chief stew. And the cast that I would want on Captain Lee's yacht are the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Like, put those Atlanta women on a yacht with Captain Lee and Kate. That is going to be TV gold. Like, one of those women is going to get kicked off the boat, mark my words. But how amazing would that be? And then we would get to see the other side, the below deck casts, their reactions and point of views. Kate's commentary about those women would be 10 out of 10. Like, please make this happen, Bravo. And plus, it's such good marketing for Below Deck because we are going to be seeing the other side of this Salt Lake City yacht trip on Below Deck Down Under next season. I think I heard it's going to be at least 3 episodes, which is going to be so good. But let's talk about the episode, because the amount that happened in this episode, like I said a few weeks ago, these women bring it every minute of every day. I mean, we have Bronwyn showing up on that tender looking like a life raft. Then we have Meredith literally bending water. That was ridiculous. Angie K getting seasick and throwing up. Heather revealing that she actually hooked up with Captain Jason. I mean, there is so much going on, not a minute of downtime. And then we have the below deck crew, Joao, trying to serve them dinner as Heather Gay is screaming bloody murder across the table at Lisa Barlow.
Just f***ing own it. You know what? Own that you're the source of all the f***ing dirt.
Chef Ben trying to come out, as he always does, to check on the food, see how it was. These women don't give a shit how the food was. They're filming their own TV show. So in a way, it's almost easier for the crew, but it was so funny to watch. However, and this may be an unpopular opinion, I'm really interested to hear what you guys think. I did not like how Heather Gay was going so hard at Lisa Barlow on that yacht. It was so clear to me what she was trying to do. She was trying to recreate her viral moment, exposing Monica as reality Von Teese during that season finale. It was the exact same thing, almost to a T, trying to expose Lisa Barlow as being the source, except this time, where were your receipts, proof, timeline, screenshots, Heather? Because there were none. And the whole time she's trying to manipulate Lisa Barlow into the fact that it's a good thing that she's the source. Like, it wasn't making sense. Lisa Barlow was denying. And sorry, guys, I believe Lisa Barlow. I've been seeing a lot of commentary about this online. I do understand why Lisa Barlow might want to retaliate after Bronwyn was the one that brought up all of her legal issues at the beginning of the season. But they had buried the hatchet. Why would Lisa Barlow, end this feud and bury the hatchet, have that conversation with Bronwyn, decide to move on, and then decide to bring all of this up? I said it once and I'll say it again. Lisa isn't the one that brought this to camera. Whitney and Angie are the ones that actually said it on camera. But I don't even think they dug it up. I think that people underestimate the distance that these Bravo bloggers and fan pages will go. They will go the distance, a la Lisa Barlow. I'm not throwing Lisa Barlow under the bus. But if they don't like a housewife, they're going to dig up these things themselves. And I think Lisa said it on the after show. She is not the source. Like, this is public record. This is out there. And there is a Twitter account that Lisa did shout out on Watch What Happens Live. She did kind of call attention to it, that is posting these things about Bronwyn. But did Lisa Barlow give this information to that Twitter account? No, I don't believe that. It's the same thing with Real Housewives of Orange County and Tamra. She is accused of allegedly photoshopping these photos of Gretchen liking these transphobic and homophobic posts. Like, I don't think that Tamra would do that. Were these already out there and maybe they got sent to Tamra? Absolutely. Do I think that Tamra created these images and sent them to this Twitter account? No, I don't think that. Am I crazy? I mean, let me know if you agree with me or not. I just don't think, yes, these housewives go low. But are they going to go to those lengths to attack their castmates? I just don't think so. But I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Let me know what you guys think. This season of Salt Lake City definitely seems to be a pile on Lisa Barlow, and we know how those always end up. We don't like everybody ganging up on one single person, and usually that person ends up winning in the end. So I am Team Baby Gorgeous. I am rooting for you, and we'll see how it all plays out. Now, a little update on Bronwyn's charges, because she did kind of address them on this week's episode. She basically said there was something that happened at her work at her former employer, and she cooperated with the feds regarding that. There were charges. The charges were not against her. The charges actually did go through, but then the case was sealed. And as we stated last week, I don't think any arrest was made regarding Bronwyn. There's no mugshot, there's no police record, etc. So it sounds like she was just involved in this case in some way, shape, or form. And obviously some felony charges happened to someone at some point, but it doesn't appear that they were regarding Bronwyn, because I feel like this would be a bigger story if it was, and we would be seeing some sort of proof that that actually happened. She admits that she made mistakes in her past and did things that she is not proud of. So I don't know. At this moment, I am giving Bronwyn the benefit of the doubt. You know, unlike Wendy's case, where there is a lot of evidence stacked up against them, there's really nothing of that kind regarding Bronwyn and all of this. It's a lot of, you know, beating around the bush and these details that don't quite add up. So I don't know. At this moment in time, I'm going to lay low on Bronwyn, but again, we'll see how it all plays out. Okay, let's jump over to New Jersey, because we did get a few updates regarding the Real Housewives of New Jersey about who's coming back and who's definitely not. On the not list is somebody that I am pretty excited to see not return, and that is Jen Aydin. Now, I've never been a fan of Jen Aydin. I don't know if you guys have. That's probably an unpopular opinion. I know she does have a large and loyal fan base, but I am not one of those people. So I was pretty happy to see her post this statement on Instagram. But can I just say that this is the most unhinged statement we have ever seen from any celebrity or Real Housewife in the history of social media. She posted a post on Instagram that says, "Hey guys, just wanted to hop on here and update you guys on a few things. A lot of you have been asking me if I'm still on the shower or not. Yes, it says shower, but I think she meant show. I can honestly say that nobody has told me anything, and they still haven't told me anything, but I haven't checked either. Life's been pretty busy, and I would only think about it when people asked, which is why I would have liked to have known so I can let you guys know. You know me, I like to keep it real. And all I've heard is what you've heard. You probably know more than me, actually. I've heard they're test filming, and I wasn't invited to BravoCon. So by the looks of it, I think it's safe to say probably not, and that's okay. I'm good." Maybe that's how they fire people these days, but just moving on without telling the person, maybe it's awkward for them, I don't know. But if they did tell me, I would have said, "Thanks for letting me know, and thanks so much for the journey. Wish you guys all the best." And I mean that. I'll always be grateful for my time on the show. It was quite the experience, to say the least. So it's time to keep it moving, and I got a podcast. It's called TV Gold, and it's not about the housewives. Of course, I'll touch on it at times since it was such a big part of my life, but the podcast is more going to be about pop culture, entertainment, fashion, health, wellness, and beauty, all with a flair of funny, handled by yours truly, Jennifer Aydin. So it's out with the old and on to the gold with me, Jennifer Aydin, TV Gold. Like, Jennifer Aydin is the only celebrity in history that has not used ChatGPT to write her statements. Like, did you even proofread it? Obviously not. Like, reading that was a word salad, to say the least. But the point is, she's not coming back. She was not asked to come back, and she thinks that she deserves to be told something by Bravo. And in a way, I do see her point. But at this stage of the game, we still don't know anything. And I don't think a lot of the cast members, unless they are test filming, have been told anything either. So at this point, I don't really think there's anything to tell her. They obviously don't have to test film with her because she's filmed so many seasons of the show before. She didn't get invited to BravoCon, so there is that. But good news, we have another housewife podcast that nobody asked for. And I don't know, do you want to bet how many episodes this podcast is going to last? I am totally fine with this. I am totally fine with Jen Aydin not returning. All I got to say is girl, bye. So on the flip side, we did actually get some alleged tea about who is returning. This is coming from a blind posted on Bravo and Cocktails, and it has to do with the reconciliation between Joe, Teresa, and Melissa. They posted a blind this weekend that said, I have quick real-time tea. A friend is at Willow and Whisk in NJ. Teresa is there with Louis. Joe and Melissa are there. No cameras, though, are present. My sister FaceTimed me to show me, like legit there right now. I told them to get a picture, and they said they were trying to, but they're in the back of the restaurant, so can't see them now. Also, it closes at 3, and they're in the back, so my assumption is the network paid for them to have a private lunch there, but we spotted them. A cocktailer just made a good point. It's possible the cameras are in the back room waiting for them. Now, this is all alleged, but if this is true and we are getting Teresa, Joe, Melissa, and Louis reconciling and there are no cameras there, what are you doing, Bravo? We need Andy and a camera in that room immediately. This is what is going to help the revival of the Real Housewives of New Jersey. And if they're actually doing it, on their own and then going to recreate it for the cameras, I don't like that either. I want this to be real. We have been following this family and this feud for so long. So when they do reconcile and when they sit down, if they sit down together, we better be getting that on camera. And this does tell me, that the wheels are starting to turn. Things are moving with the Real Housewives of New Jersey so much that we might be getting an announcement about New Jersey at BravoCon. Who knows? Is it going to be Teresa, Joe, and Melissa all walking out on stage together? I mean, the gasp that I would let out if that actually happened. But I don't know, stranger things have happened on Bravo, so we'll see. And the final story for this week, another reconciling happening in the Bravo universe. And it's actually coming out of the world of Vanderpump Rules because Katie Maloney was spotted filming with Stassi Schroeder for her new show, Stassi Says, this weekend. TMZ reported Stassi Schroeder filming Stassi Says with VPR co-star Katie Maloney. Stassi Schroeder is back in front of the cameras, and this time it's for her very own Hulu series. TMZ has learned the former Vanderpump Rules star is officially in production on her new docuseries, Stassi Says, and she's already reunited with one of her Bravo besties. We caught Stassi filming at the Belmont in West Hollywood on Saturday, catching up with her former VPR castmate, Katie Maloney. And Katie's cameo only fuels speculation that more surprises are in store. Now, this show was announced a while ago. I think it might be like 2 years ago at this point. It was actually announced at the same time that it was announced that Stassi was going to be appearing on Vanderpump Villa. She has already filmed 2 seasons of Vanderpump Villa at this point, so I think it maybe took a while for this show to actually get off the ground. But I did actually see her filming this show with Taylor Strucker at Unwell Vegas a few weeks ago. So at that point, I knew that cameras were rolling and something was in the works. But this is the confirmation that we needed. I'm actually really excited about this. The Stassi that we left on Vanderpump Rules is so different than the Stassi now. She's married. She has 2 kids. She is just living a completely different life, in the words of Lisa Barlow, living a very different life from all of you. But she's kind of come into her own and is almost like a completely different person at this point. So the fact that we now get to catch up with her at this stage in her life, I guess she is at a similar stage as those on the Valley, but obviously she doesn't want to do that. So this is going to be a good platform for us to not only catch up with her, but catch up with people that don't really fit into that Valley world either. Like Katie. I am a Katie stan. I've always loved Katie. I know she has a lot of haters, but she made excellent reality TV. And if she is going to be a part of this show and come back into Stassi's life, I am so here for it. And I wonder who else might be making an appearance. Will we get any crossover with the Valley? Like, will Tom Schwartz make an appearance? I think that him and Stassi are still pretty close. We yet to have a trailer or premiere date, but just know that it is coming soon on Hulu. And that's it for this week's show. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. If you're listening as a podcast, rate us 5 stars and drop us a review. And guys, we are less than 2 weeks away from BravoCon. I cannot wait. I will be reporting on all the platforms, so make sure you are also following me at Bravo Breaking News to get all of the tea coming to you live from Vegas. If you are going, let me know in the comments, and I'll be back next week with more unpopular opinions. I'll see you guys next time.